The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, before we proceed any further, make sure you guys smash that like button because YouTube was always trying to hate on your boy BT and True School Sports. So do that for me. That will help the channel. That help this video, and you'd be a good person for that. But listen, Mauricio Sulaimán, the head of the WBC. He was watching the Canelo Alvarez Avni Yildirim fight, and it sounds, at least for the time being, we'll see if he takes any action on these quotes, but it sounds like for the time being he's had this epiphany. And the epiphany that he had when he was under the bright lights and the beautiful weather down there in Miami was that he needs to go have a review and a look at the WBC mandatory process, the process in which contenders within the WBC rankings become mandatory challengers for fighters and champions such as Canelo Alvarez. He's finally had that after all these years. Now, we're going to see if he acts on it, but here's what he said verbatim in an interview with Boxing Social. Shout out to Boxing Social. They do great work. He said, I quote, "We need to look into the process that is not we need to look into the process that is not working in some roads. There's things we have to go back and look at what is happening. That stage should have been for a much greater fight," end quote. And you know what? Sulaimán is right. He's absolutely right. But this is his fault. This is his damn fault. All right? And look, he can go to Boxing Social and he can try to fool people who don't know better, but I know better. I know that when it comes to the WBC, I know that Avni Yildirim's manager, Ahmet Oner, lovely guy, had a chance to meet him in 2018, but I know that you guys are great friends. I know that you guys are like this. I know that you and Ahmet are so close and that he likes you so much, he calls you Papa, okay? And on top of that, that's why Avni got a shot. Listen, I like Avni, he's a friend of the channel, but Avni didn't get a shot because of he was this great fighter that earned the shot. He got the shot because his manager was like this with Sulaimán. Okay? Now, the second part of his statement, he said that there's things that he needs to look at, and that the fight between Canelo and Yildirim, instead of it being Yildirim, it should have been Canelo versus somebody else. And for a venue like that, in a great city like Miami, in the greatest region in the world, South Florida, on the beautiful lights of the Hard Rock Stadium, you put on televised sparring. All right? And it's your fault. It's your fault because you have created too many gray areas within the WBC by creating this concept of a franchise champion, because Canelo Alvarez wasn't mandated to fight Avni Yildirim. Absolutely not. Canelo Alvarez requested it because of the concept that you created so that you can get more sanctioning fees and so that your stomach and your gut can continue to expand. This is your fault, Mauricio Sulaimán. It's your fault. All right? So don't come here and play the role of a guy who's really trying to do better for the sport. Because if you wanted to do better for the sport, it would have happened. This thought that you're having in your head now, you would have had this thought 4 years ago when you purposely allowed Deontay Wilder to delay the Luis Ortiz fight and get an easy tune-up before the Luis Ortiz fight, and you broke your own rules. You broke your own rules. The WBC always does this, and I want people out there that don't know to understand this. The WBC always does this. This is how they are. They have rules and regulations. You can go look them up. They're online. They're easily available for anybody with internet access to go read. But they don't even follow their own rules. The way they operate is that they operate on a whim. So like if they have a rule, so for example, right, I'll give you an example, right? So Bermane Stiverne, when he fought Wilder in the rematch, it had been about, I'm gonna say, almost 2 years since he fought at all. At that point in time, he had been inactive for a long time. And the WBC rankings state that if you're inactive, I believe, I can't remember if it's for a year or 18 months, but I believe it's between 12 and 18 months. After 12 and 18 months, if you haven't fought, you are removed from the rankings. Period. Point blank, period. No questions asked. You are removed from the rankings. And Stiverne, not only was he not removed from the rankings, this man was bumped up to freaking mandatory challenger for Wilder. He got a fight, or it might. I don't remember if it was a mandatory, but either way, he got a fight. Not only did they not remove him, they kept him there, and they allowed Wilder to fight him. You see what I'm saying? So they broke that rule in 2017. And he didn't have that thought. There was no quotes like this after that. But now, all of a sudden, he wants to review the rules. He could change it. He could be serious, and maybe there is going to be a positive change for the sport of boxing. But for me, just really following boxing as closely as I do and seeing how Sulaimán has dealt with things over the years, it sounds very disingenuous to me. That's how it sounds to me. So that's why I'm out with it. The light bulb went off for Sulaimán. You know, the light bulb was finally clicked. You know, he maybe he's finally realizing that these mandatories and these mismatches are getting in the way of good fights being made. But you know what? The crazy thing is, even if that's the case and he's finally realizing it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything, because he's happy. He's happy that there's more fights. He's happy that there's delays, because the more fights there are, the more delays there are. The more fights, the more sanctioning fees. The more sanctioning fees, the more money. The more money, the more food he can put in that big ass stomach of his. No disrespect, but you got a big stomach, Mauricio. I'm not hating. You got a big stomach. It's not hating if you're telling the truth. Just being honest. Now, it is my hope and it is my prayer that the WBC will do something to not allow another shit show like Yildirim versus Canelo in televised sparring at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. You really came to South Florida and put on one of the worst main events in the history of South Florida. We've had some. Listen, I go to a lot of local fight cards in South Florida. I wasn't at this one, but this was one of the worst main events in the history of South Florida boxing. It was ridiculous. So, you know, Mauricio, if you watch this, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes these videos get to people, so we'll see what happens. But if anything happens, Mauricio, and you see this video, please do the right thing. You know, it's never too late to change. It's never too late to change and do the right thing, Mauricio. So if you're gonna change the rules, if you're gonna stop things like this from happening, and stop rewarding your friends' fighters, you know, title shots against, you know, cash cows of boxing, all because they're your friends, you know, you can change. You can turn away from dark and come to the light. It's called repenting. You can repent and turn from your old ways and be a great ambassador for the sport, Mauricio. So my hope is that you will at some point in time. But my realistic feeling is that you won't. But we'll see. And whatever happens, any changes you make, good or bad, it will be reported here on True School Sports. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about Mauricio Sulaimán saying that, you know, he's going to look into the process of these mandatory fights, because he said that this was a disgrace. He's pretty much, in so many words, saying that this matchup at a stadium, this televised sparring session, was a disgrace to boxing. So leave your comments down below. Make sure you take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.